morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at some news. There's been a bunch of little news stories coming out of Japan which are going to impact us and are going to be rather exciting. So they are things we should absolutely be having a little bit of a look at. And we might as well start off with what is the biggest story in Japan: the rotation. Yeah, that's right. Japan have gone ahead and rotated. What that means is that they are syncing up with us. Now, at the moment, we are actually having regulation marks on all of our sword and shield cards. So if we have a look at Zacian, for instance, we can see that it's got regulation mark D. And we have as good as been told by the lovely folks at the Pokémon Company that when we hit September 2021, we are going to be rotating to rotation mark D onwards. That is to say, sword and shield on. Japan, however, didn't even have their rotation that we've just had. So whereas we rotated to team up on, Japan just didn't. And that means that a lot of the deck lists that we've been looking at lately have been not hideously different, but a little bit different to ours. We've been having to talk about changes that we would make in order to bring the decks over. We've been having to give our opinions of whether these cards are gonna bring the downfall. I mean, a great example here is lightning decks. Up till now, Japan has still had Thunder Mountain to reduce the attack cost of lightning Pokemon by 1, and they've still had Electro Power to do an extra 30 damage on their attacks. So when we see Japanese decks playing Pikachu V Max and doing very well with it, we need to ask the question, and it's an extremely fair question. Well, if we take away Thunder Mountain and we take away Electro Power, does Pikachu V Max remain such a good deck? For what it's worth, I do think Pikachu remains a pretty good deck, but it is something that does need to be borne in mind. Well, the good news is we have had confirmation. The lovely Antoine Boulet has confirmed the news coming out of Japan this morning that Japan are rotating to rotation mark C onwards. For their standard format, there are a couple other formats, but it's just onwards, which means they're getting rid of a bunch of cards. The thing is, it's not actually completely the same as it is over here. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, there are a couple of cards, like, for instance, Jirachi, which are actually being rotated out in Japan that haven't rotated here. And I did go and have to check this, make sure I wasn't doing anything dumb, but you can see from the image on the screen here, Jirachi has got regulation mark B. Now, how does this coincide with our regulation? It's a little bit awkward. Basically, some cards we're currently in Team Up on, and some cards from Team Up have rotated in Japan that have not rotated over here. Now, the reason is our main sets like Team Up are made up of Japanese main sets. Team Up was Sun and Moon 9. And mini sets. So our Sun and Moon 9 Team Up was Japan Sun and Moon 9, plus Sun and Moon 8A and a little bit of Sun and Moon 8B. Now, Sun and Moon 8A was Dark Order, and that is rotated in Japan. Whereas Sun and Moon 8B was GX Ultra Shiny that had very few new cards in and really didn't make a huge amount of difference, honestly. But there are a couple. For instance, Shaman Prism Star was a new card in GX Ultra Shiny, came through with Regulation Mark B. That one is going away here. So even though Shaman Prism Star was in Team Up and therefore survived the rotation for us, it doesn't survive the rotation over in Japan. GX Ultra Shiny really hasn't had a huge impact, if I'm honest with you, but there are a bunch of cards from Dark Order that really have. Now, chief among them is very much Jirachi. Jirachi is huge, and even though a skateboard would have rotated anyway, an awful lot of people are still playing Jirachi in an awful lot of decks over here, with the rotation and a skateboard having gone. Other relevant cards, Tapu Koko Prism Star, that accelerates 1 lightning energy from your discard to each of 2 bench Pokemon. That is gone in Japan. because that was even though it's Team Up for us, it was Dark Order. The majority of Team Up was in Tag Bolt in Japan. Tag Bolt is still in the format, but these cards were in our Team Up, but they came from Dark Order. So Japan have essentially rotated to Sun and Moon 9 onwards. But because our Sun and Moon 9 had Sun and Moon 8A in, and a couple of new cards from 8B, but 8B was largely a reprint set, that means that they have lost a few. Incineroar GX is kind of a relevant card, honestly. Sees a lot of play in Mewtwo and Mew decks. For free energy, it does 130 and discards a special energy attached to the defending Pokemon. Well, Mewtwo and Mew will often copy that because Welder and a third energy, it's a free energy attack that does decent damage and KOs most single prize Pokemon that Mewtwo and Mew can copy turn 1 going second. It is a staple in Mewtwo and Mew decks, and that is, it's gone, it's going away. The other one that really springs to mind for me here is Black Market Prism Star. You'll notice that what I've actually done here is I have just listed all 4 of the Prism Star cards that we still have in the rotation that somehow survived. Japan is losing them. And again, it's not a coincidence. It's because those cards were pre-Sun and Moon 9 in Japan, but bled into our Sun and Moon 9 because we have their mini sets amalgamated into our slightly later main sets. And Black Market Prism Star says that when a Darkness Pokemon with Darkness Energy attached is KO'd, it gives up 1 less prize card. Again, an extremely relevant card that sees a whole bunch of play. All gone, ladies and gentlemen. All gone. Actually, I tell a lie, there is one more card which I almost forgot to mention, but I didn't. Go Wassy. It's Metal Goggles. Metal Goggles, which of course is an absolute staple in a lot of Zacian decks, especially the ones playing Lucario and Melmetal. Yep, that is gone. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that is gone. It's going. It's rotating out. And remember, Metal Frying Pan is gone, so an awful lot of people went, right, well, if Metal Frying Pan's gone, I'm going straight to Metal Goggles, which is a fair point to make. Yeah, it's not that relevant, ladies and gentlemen. It is not that relevant because we're losing it. There aren't really any other cards. I'm looking down the list here, and unless I've missed something obvious, and as always, let me know in the comment section if I have. I don't think there are any others here which are super relevant. Oh no, there's Bronzong. Bronzong's relevant. That's the one that, well, okay. Again, this is something you can discuss with me in the comment section. I don't think Bronzong from Team Up is that relevant anymore. Of course, we got the Bronzor from Team Up that lets you evolve the turn you play it. And then Bronzong, well, okay, if you go second on your first turn. That's the only time. And then Bronzong's got Heat Proof, which prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's fire Pokemon. In the Players' Cup 1, we saw this auto win against stuff like Center Scorch, but now we see an awful lot of fire decks just playing Cramorant, which is your answer to Bronzong, so I don't know how relevant Bronzong is nowadays, but it's there. Cobalion GX, you could say, is a real push on the outside. That is one. I mean, each of your Pokemon with any metal energy attached can't be affected by special conditions. Stops your opponent attacking for a turn as a GX attack. So I don't know. Maybe that's going to be a little bit relevant. You never know. And I'm probably missing 1 or 2 other little ones, but they are very much the most relevant ones. So yes, okay, Japan is rotating, and that is an absolutely fair thing to say. And they are rotating to almost what we are getting, but not entirely, ladies and gentlemen. It is not quite the same rotation as ours. Very, very similar. But there are a bunch of cards that we've got in Team Up that Japan don't have. And I've explained why that is. And I believe I've given you a list of the relevant cards. I've seen an awful lot of people out there going, right, but okay, but which ones are we losing? And I thought, well, you know what? This seems like the kind of thing that I could explain to you, lovely ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully make it all nice and simple. And hopefully I have. There is one other tiny little news story I do want to chuck on the end here, just because I do want to mention this very quickly. We did talk recently about the fact that this new set in Japan, this shiny Star V set is going to have some amazing rares. And I showed you Kyogre, and I showed you Reshiram, and I showed you Yveltal. And we mused about the fact that there may or may not be other amazing rares coming. Well, we have now seen the full set list for Shiny Star V, and it has been confirmed that there are no more amazing rares in that set. What is the future of amazing rares? We don't know. We got a bunch of amazing rares in Vivid Voltage, but they came from Japan's Sword and Shield 3A set. And we know that these 3 amazing rares are going to be coming in that 25th anniversary set, about which we still know rather little. Will Japan do more amazing rares? If you want my prediction, their Sword and Shield 5 won't have any, but their Sword and Shield 5A will. Maybe this is something they're doing in their mini sets from now on. I hope they do. I like these amazing rares, and I would very much like to see more of them in the future. But I thought it was worth just pointing out very quickly on the end of the video that we're not getting any more for the moment, but I do have some confidence we'll get more in the future. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this good stuff. I want to know what you think about this rotation and how it's going to impact. The good news is that when we're looking at Japanese deck lists now, every single card that they have, we will also have, and that is what is amazing. The downside of this is that Japan are going to be slightly hamstrung, so there are some decks that they may not play because we've got cards that they don't have, and that stops them wanting to play. I don't know. I want to know what you think about this in the comment section, so go nuts, be nice, and then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.